On today's episode, we're going to be talking about my newly acquired 1967 Chevy Suburban that used to be owned by Willamette Speedway. As a matter of fact, we're at Willamette Speedway. It's right behind me. You can probably hear the cars practicing tonight. This Suburban was bought by the owners of the track, Claire and Evelyn Arnold, back in 1972. That's the first time it showed up out here. It was used all the way up into the early 2000s, like 2007, 2006, somewhere in there before it was sold. It's been through a couple hands. After that, I located it up in Washington, a town called Woodland, which is about 2 hours away from home. I went up and picked it up on Saturday, and here it is, back at the track. Let's check this thing out. I want to show it to you. Let's walk around it. Let's see the good and the bad, and welcome it back to Willamette Speedway. Hey, so I filmed this at the track, a walk around video of the Suburban, and unfortunately it was so windy and I didn't have a dead cat on my microphone that it was worthless. The audio was terrible. You couldn't have heard what I said anyway. So I'm going to do this at home. I do have some footage of the Suburban at the track, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's walk around this real quick and I'll show it to you, and I'll give you some history of what I know. The Suburban was bought by Claire and Evelyn Arnold around 1972, is what I've been told. At the time, the Suburban was blue. You can see the blue under the hood here. You can also see it poking through underneath the paint, but it was a light blue. It got painted, and I've been told that the blue wheels were not original. They were either white or maybe just gray, like steel gray. They weren't the blue they are now, but it was painted red top. It's got a blue stripe, and then it's got the graphics. The graphics, or the hand lettering, was done by a guy named Paul, who lived out in Waterloo, which is just outside of Lebanon, from everything I've been told. Paul did the graphics. Paul did the painting of the Willamette Speedway and the flagman. I've come over to this side because this one's in better shape, so I wanted to show you this one. But there's the flagman, Willamette Speedway on this door. We'll get back to the Pepsi logos in a second. And then the Willamette Speedway on the tailgate with Lebanon, Oregon underneath. Super cool. You can see the artistic license with the E's, how the middle of the E is kind of lower in the E itself, but super cool. I'm gonna open the trunk, or the tailgate, I mean. So those were done by a guy named Paul. My understanding is that Evelyn Arnold would use this as, well, they would use it, Claire and Evelyn both would use it as their daily for some of the time. I have a friend that I go to church with that said that she remembers this rig dropping off the Claire kids at school, Bill and his siblings, which is super neat. She remembers this from back then when she was in school, middle school and high school. At some point, I don't know what year, it got turned into the Lebanon Speedway ambulance. And if we go to the back here, the seat was out, the second seat was out, and then a gurney was installed in here, and I think those brackets probably were for the gurney to keep it from sliding around, and medical gear. So back seat out, gurney, medical supplies. I've had several people reach out and say, hey, I've taken a ride in that Suburban to the hospital. Anytime there was a crash on the track, the Suburban would come out, and obviously had medical supplies. It does have 2 emergency lights on the top. These are made by Federal Signal. They're called Fireballs is the brand name of these, or the brand name. Cool story about those. They were in the back. The previous owner found them. Again, he had taken them off. They were in the back of the Suburban when I got it, and I was able to find the wiring was still in the truck. It had been over there at the B pillar, kind of tucked away. And then there's a switch right here on the dash. That switch doesn't work unless the key is on. but these lights work, and I'll show you that. I've got several videos of that even in the dark. But I was able to reinstall them. They're magnetic. They have magnetic bases, and they're back on the truck where they used to be, and they do work, which is super cool. No way. The red one works. That is rad. Oh, we got to get these wired up soon. How cool is that? So yeah, this truck would go out on the track, had the medical supplies. It did have a push board on the front. You can see the two brackets that are welded to the bumper. Unfortunately, I don't have the brackets that slipped into those. The previous owner thought maybe he had them. Still looking for them, kinda, but I need to fabricate some brackets and build another push board for the front to make it genuine. But that's what that's for, is for a push board or push bumper to push cars off the track. And so that's pretty neat. So anyway, I've had several people reach out and say, hey, I rode in that to the hospital. One guy said, hey, I think he even broke his back at the track racing, and got a ride in this to the Lebanon hospital. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Corvallis. Oh, the other cool thing, and we're going to go back to the Pepsi logos. A friend of mine worked for Pepsi back in the day. I live in Corvallis, which is about 20 to 25 minutes away from Lebanon, where the track is at. There's a Pepsi plant, or a Pepsi warehouse in Corvallis. The track was sponsored by Pepsi, which is why these are on here. They are vinyl. So these are vinyl logos on the truck. The track was sponsored by Pepsi, so he put those on there. My understanding is that Evelyn would drive the Suburban to Pepsi. My friend would then assist loading the whole back full of Pepsi products to take out to the track for the weekend. Fill the back with drinks. The front, where in the passenger compartment, would be full of hot dog and hamburger buns up next to her so they wouldn't get smushed by the soda. She would then drive it out to the track, and back then there was a snack shack in the middle of the infield. And some of the guys, actually one of the guys that had some history on the truck, told me he would help her unload, and she would give him a free soda in exchange for helping her unload the Suburban. So that was kind of the routine, was go into Corvallis, get soda, get hamburger and hot dog buns, drive it out to the track, and then unload it in the infield, because that's where all the cars used to pit. And he would help her unload, and she would give him a soda. So that's pretty cool. A few pieces of history that I know about the rig. The other cool thing I learned is that this would sit right outside the gate, the entrance. And so everybody walking into the grandstands, they moved where people would enter the grandstands, and the rig would park right outside the gate, so people would have to walk by it on their way into the track. But let's get a little more detailed here. This Suburban is a 67. It's got a 283 V8. I believe it's got a 2-barrel carburetor for those that are into that sort of thing. It has manual steering. It has manual brakes, factory ram horn mufflers, or exhaust manifolds. It's a points ignition, and it has a 4-speed manual transmission with, we would call it a granny low gear. So it's got a really low first gear, ideal for, hey, pushing cars out of the way maybe. This is cool. I need to clean that up and see if we can see it. Positive crankcase ventilation is what it says on the bottom. I don't know what else it says, but that's cool. I did put a new fuel filter on it. The other one was not see-through, and I want to be able to see what was going into the motor. I also put a new battery in it. The other one was a little bit small, and it had been from 2017 or 18, and was probably due to be changed. Cool thing is, it's got a big heavy-duty radiator. That's one of the options that's on it. Obviously no air conditioning or anything like that. And yeah, 283, 4-speed, and then it does have a posi track rear end. It's a half ton. It's a C10. Suburban. A couple other things that I know that it really needs. If you're looking down here at the rockers, they're rusty. The front floors, I'll show you, are not good. Not good at all. This is high on my list to replace. Thankfully, the support bracket looks like it's in okay shape, but the floor itself is toast. These rockers have been repaired once already. You can see somebody riveted another piece of metal in here to try and save it. That needs to be replaced. Floor pan needs to be replaced on this side, and even in the back. It's not good either. So this needs a rocker as well. So that's on my list. I have a friend that I'm going to that's been gracious enough to assist me with that, and we're gonna fix the floors. Let me show you let me show you the other side. We'll get to this side. Look at the driver floor. It's not good either. Thankfully the mat covers it a little bit, but yeah, you can see it's pretty rotted. So unfortunate, but when you're on the dirt track and then you've got a rubber mat and the windshield leaks, you can see that's not good either. So that's gonna have to be dealt with at some point. I think somebody put a new gasket in here, so we're hoping it doesn't leak. I'm gonna have indoor storage for it, but the floors are in bad shape. It does have a nice dash. It is the better dash, so it's got battery, temp. It does have oil pressure. It doesn't just have idiot lights. Fuel gauge doesn't work. All the other gauges work. Temp, oil pressure. It's got a manual choke right here. Then you've got your windshield wipers and your lights. Both of those work. This is one of my favorite steering wheels. I don't know why, probably because it's so plain. Just a 3-spoke plain Jane wheel. Love it. And it's got a Motorola solid state stereo, AM stereo. That's the switch that runs the lights up above. Driver's seat, I'm gonna move my notes. Driver's seat, not in great shape. Gonna need to be repaired. It's split on the back. The back seat's actually good, but I don't think it ever got sat in because it wasn't in here much. And then headliner, I think, was torn out. It does seem to have some headliner material up here in the front still, but the rest of it's pretty toast. And then there's the 4-speed. So it's got granny low first gear, first, reverses in and towards you, or in and to the in and down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice 4-speed. I do have some new pedal covers, pedal pads. It is showing 59,364 on miles, 59,364. I've been told that most likely that is original mileage. They bought it, like I said, in 72. From near as I can tell, it left the track in 2007, 2008. It was sold to a friend of the track by Claire for $750 is what it left the track at. $750. It had been parked for a long time. I believe they rebuilt the carburetor and threw a battery in it and it fired back up, but it had sat for a long time. Oh, there's some more rust in the back. I just want to show you that. I'm transparent. She's not perfect by any means. She needs some love, but that's okay. That's why I've got it. So yeah, left the track in 07, 08. It's been through 2 or 3 hands. I have a picture of it having some big white walls, some big wide whites is what they call them, with the blue wheels. It looked like freshly blue, so I think that owner had been doing a little maybe some hot rod influence on it, and then from there, it, like I said, it's been through at least 3, I believe at least 3 owners, with me being, I think, the 4th. Gentleman in we'll get there. Gentleman in Washington, Woodland, Washington, bought it, and him and his wife had it for 5 years. You can see some of the doggy nose prints on the window. They take their dog to the barn, and it was a dog hauler and kid hauler out to the barn. One other place that it's got rust is these back quarters. These are also going to get replaced. They still make these. So quarters on both sides, rear quarters, need to be addressed. So rockers, floors, and quarters are on the list. So yes, back to my story, went to Woodland. Here's the cool part. It went up for sale. It was more than I was willing to pay, let's just say. I called the guy immediately. My son and I spend a lot of time out at the track, and actually I'm going to put some video. My son has been learning to flag races out at the track with Mike Stewart, the flagger at Willamette Speedway. I really appreciate him being there for my son and teaching him the game. We go out there almost every weekend. I watch, I help here and there. Maybe even we go out on Friday nights for practice. My son flags practice. We go on Saturday, we watch the races. My son is learning to flag. We love the Speedway. We appreciate Corey and Sandy Penfold who own it, and just couldn't be happier. It's a great place to hang out, watch racing, and just hang out with your friends.
This year, Clayton Devon looking for the green flag at a turn 4. Here we go. Find some light upstairs.
I saw this come up online. I immediately knew that it needed to come back down to the track because it was a long way from home. Called the guy and he said, called the guy, we talked about it. I knew I couldn't pay him what he was asking for it. He was asking more than I was willing to pay. So I waited on it for about a week and thought about it, and then I messaged him and I just said, hey, this is what I've got. This is what I'm willing to pay. It's got some rust issues. He had sent me photos of the floors like I just showed you. It's got some rust issues. It does run and drive. It does potentially need a clutch. He said the clutch was getting a little soft, so I do have a fresh clutch in here that he gave me. There's my son's flags and flagging gear. New clutch. It does need a clutch. It needs rust repair. I said, hey, I'm not trying to lowball you. I'm not that guy, but I'm 2 hours away, and if we can't really come to close to an agreement, I don't know that I want to drive all the way to not take it home. So he said, well, let me ask my wife. Let me talk to my wife, and I'll get back to you. So I said, okay. So about a day or so goes by, and he messages me and says, hey, if I throw in the clutch, would you buy it for X amount of money, and you put the clutch in instead of me? I said, yeah, I can do that. That's fine. And didn't hear from him for a day or two. Messaged him again, said, hey, what do you think about my offer? And he said, oh, I'm really sorry. I'm willing to take your offer. I'm sorry I didn't close the loop. But yes, I'll take your offer. And I was stoked because it was substantially less than what it was up online for. So I grabbed my trailer and my dad's truck, which is that one over there, the big Ford. Drove to Woodland with my boys. When I got there, he was at work, so I talked with his wife, and she told me, this is awesome. She said, hey, as soon as my husband told me what you had told him about being at the track all the time and wanting it to go back, she said, it's going home. The Suburban's going home, and she was good with the price and was willing to let it go because it was coming back to the Speedway. So if she's watching this or does watch this, really appreciate you guys coming down a little bit on the price. It's so cool and it's so vintage, and I'm honored to own it, and I'm thankful that you were willing to work with me on the value, knowing that it needs some love and care. So that's how I came into possession of this truck. What are my plans for it? So a couple things. One is I just want it to be available for people to see at the track. I think it's a great piece of local history. The track is 60 years old this year. It was started in 1966. It's now 2026. The track is 60 years old, and I think this is a piece of history that needs to be around at the track. So I'm going to attempt to drive it out there quite a bit, just so people can see it and enjoy it. I did get a really nice message from Evelyn Arnold, Claire's wife. Claire is no longer, Claire has passed, but his wife Evelyn is still alive and well, and she reached out and said thank you for for saving it and bringing it back. I'm hoping that I can give the keys to Bill, her son, and he can take her for a ride in it. I've been told that she would like to see it again and ride in it, so I really want that to happen, and so I will throw him the keys. As you're going to see in some of the footage that I've got, when I first brought it out, I bought it last Saturday. I take that back. 2 Saturdays ago, I bought it. I brought it home. I fixed the headlight because the headlight was out. Checked the oil. It needed a little bit of oil. Checked the radiator. Needed a little bit there. And my son and I drove it to the track that night. When I got there, one of the track officials, Andy, who remembers the rig from when he was a kid, asked if he could use it as the pace truck for the trophy dashes that night. And I said absolutely. And that was before I even had the lights back on the roof. So the first night it comes back, the very day that I bought it, it gets back out on the track. They parked it out in the middle. Super cool to see it out there. And then they use it as the pace truck for the trophy dashes. I was stoked. It was so cool that people got to see it back in action and that it was back at the track since it had been gone, like I said, from 07 to 08. So what, 20 years almost? 18, 19 years? It had not been out there. So that was super cool. I have video of that and I'm going to put it in here probably right now. So I'll share that video with you, but it got to go back to the track.
Talk about buying a piece of history. What a great thing.
That's cool.
Race fans, this is how your dash line up with our Toyota late model who's going to go tonight on the pole. In the 78.
That's cool.
That's Mark Thompson, outside front row, 71. That's going to be Corey Yak. Inside second row, in the 08, that is Kai Frick. And tonight, your quick clocker in the 46 out of Portland, Joey Tanner. All right, everybody's in position. Going to show them when to go to the flag stand. I think that's a 66 Chevy Suburban.
67, yep.
Willamette Speedway has been operating. They've been showing Suburban will back off in turn 2.
Yeah.
All right, lights are out. You're 71 of Flagger's going to show the field 1 to go this time. Once again, on the front row with a 3-car field. 72, Greg Heinrich, 75, Axel Clay Devin, and rounding out the back row, it's going to be Frank Ellis.
Everybody was stoked to see it and had a bunch of questions. After the race, I talked to a couple guys. I appreciate you guys coming out and chatting with me. We chatted about the history and what they remembered about it, and that was really, really cool. So I'm just, like I said, I'm thankful to own it. I'm really appreciative of Corey and Sandy and the track officials who used it the other day, and we'll display it out there as much as we can and show it off for the people that come and watch races. What do I have planned for it though, other than that? Other than showing it off, what else do I want to do? Well, I kind of told you the rust needs to get fixed. All through there, the rust needs to get fixed in order to preserve this vehicle. Even around the windshield at some point. That won't be first on the list. I think, like I said, I think it's resealed and it's going to hold for now, and so I'm not worried about that. The floors and the rockers need to get done before it gets worse. So that's first order of business. Second, track is no longer sponsored by Pepsi. as much as I love that this is part of the history of the vehicle, these are vinyl. And so I've got two options. And actually I had a guy named Fred who remembers the rig and used to drive it from back in the day. I want to put my YouTube logo here to promote my channel, as well obviously as the track, which is all over the machine. But he had a good idea. He said, well, those have been on it for a long time, and it was you know, sponsored by Pepsi at the time. Why don't you put a magnet logo of your logo over it, so that when it's at the track, we don't have any issues with Coke, but it's still there. If you remove your logos, that would be magnetic. And I actually think that might be a good idea. I'm going to play around with that and see about having some magnetic logos of my channel logo, so I can put them there and promote my channel, but also be true to the truck and just leave the Pepsi logos. So that might happen. I really want to fix this paint here. This is pretty bad. I want to fix that. I want to make sure that we can paint match some of this. If I can do some work and paint, I don't want it to be perfect, but I do want to preserve it, and this isn't real great for preservation, so I want to fix that. I also have a gentleman who I've been speaking to who does hand lettering, and I want to do a little bit of touch up on these. Not a lot. I don't want to take away from the originality, but there is some spots, like on the flagman, for instance, the flag and his hat, where a lot of the paint's worn off, and I want to fix and detail that a little bit. This one's worse over here because the paint's come off up here in the flag, and then there's almost no black in the flag at all. So I really would like to have these touched up. Also on the tailgate, the Lebanon, Oregon on the tailgate, you know, is starting to be pretty faded, and if we could do a little touch up, it's going to be a little bit of an art to touch it up without bothering it, you know, but I want to touch those up. While we're back here, I do want to put a hitch on it. I would like to be able to tow with it. So I'm going to put a hitch on it. I'm going to tint the windows. I want to tint the windows kind of dark. I think that would look nice. And I know some people might be mad about this, but I do plan to lower it a little bit, like a 3 to 4 inch drop. Just enough to get it down over the tires, and give it a little bit more of a lower stance. And I think go with a little bit more of a hot rod influence with the truck versus completely stock. So lower it a little bit, tint the windows. Once all the logos and the rust repair and the paint is touched up, I want to polish it out or do a little Scotch-Brite work on it and clean it up as best I can, and do like a satin clear over the truck. I really don't want to lose a lot of what's there, so I think some satin clear, once I do a little bit of touch up, tasteful touch up, would be pretty rad. Get it cleaned up and just enjoy it. Probably new rubber floor mats, get the seats reupholstered, any other, you know, maintenance stuff that it needs. Try to do those things and give it a little hot rod influence, lower it just a touch, make it more kind of hot rod-esque, and just enjoy it. So that's my plans. Let me know in the comments what you think about my plans. I don't mind criticism. If you don't like it, you can let me know. I won't be offended too much. And obviously some of that subject to change. Like I said, I was planning to take these off, but now after talking to Fred, I think maybe I'll leave them and just put a magnet over them when I want to display my YouTube logos. So yeah, that's what I'm looking to do. If you remember this rig from when you would go out to Willamette Speedway, drop a line, drop a comment. Let me know why you remember it. Did you get to ride in it? Did you drive it? Did you just see it at the track? What experience do you have with this Suburban? Because there's a ton of people that remember it, and it'd be awesome to have kind of a record of that in the comments, just to see what people know about the Suburban. So that's kind of the walk around. That's the general, that's what I know so far. Let me check my notes here. Yeah, so I checked my notes. One other thing I wanted to say is I'm honored to be the caretaker of this Suburban at the moment. I hope to make it better than how I found it. It's due for some maintenance and some repairs, and I'm hoping to do that. I'm, like I said, a couple tasteful modifications, at least in my opinion. But I really am excited to be its caretaker and to show it off to people that remember it, and to show it to new people that have never seen it before and are new to the track and maybe didn't even know it existed. So I'm humbled and honored to own it, and I want to thank Corey and Sandy for letting me bring it out and for displaying it out on the track the other night, and I'm sure it'll be out there some more. If you have, like I said, if you have details on it and you want to email me details, I would love to know things. Really, what I would love is for pictures and videos. If you've got pictures of this out at the track, can you email me at mclovingarage@gmail.com, MCLOVIN garage@gmail.com. If you even have video clips, send them to me. I would love to compile that and maybe even put it in another video. But pictures, videos, what it looked like when it was new. I know a lot of that's not digitized, but if you have a way to even take a picture of it and email it to me, I would love to see this rig from when it was newer and fresher, like the paint and what color the wheels actually were instead of the blue. Yeah, I'm totally stoked about seeing that stuff. So let me know. Put your recollections in the comments. Send me any video or photos you've got of it at mclovingarage@gmail.com. I would appreciate it. Appreciate you watching. If you wouldn't mind liking, subscribe, you know how to do this. I appreciate it very much, and I'll see you on the next one.